And a big good morning to everyone out there in the big wide world. Big shout out to all our crew on BitClout. Big shout out to everyone out there watching on YouTube, Twitch, live streams, wherever you might be finding this little moment in time. And for those that have not yet joined us, these are weekly sessions that I hold together with my dear friend Lee Green, where we call them Satsang for the soul. So it's essentially a time to come out of that busy stream of busyness. You know, life, there's so much transformation, so much intensity out there in the world right now. And one of the most powerful things to really stay anchored, grounded, and to surf these transformational waves rather than get dumped by them is to pause, to take a moment, to really connect to breath and just slow down for a moment, even if just for a moment, can change everything. So we really felt to offer these weekly satsangs for the soul, for ourselves as much as for everyone else, as a time to reconnect. And we use the Mayan dream spell, so the Mayan count of time and the evolution of consciousness to guide our conversations and just to see what's really present and what's there. So if you're watching live, please do join in on the, you can join us in the Zoom room here. You can go to CloutForum.org where you can find the link to join us live, and you can join in the chat and help co-create the conversation. I'll also be trying to keep an eye on the YouTube and Twitch comments as well. So if you are watching live, we will be picking somebody from the audience, if we have an audience, to get a free little mini dream spell reading, which is a bit of fun if you've seen the last couple. So with that being said, I would love to stop talking and invite the dear, beautiful Lee. Would you like to take us in?
Good morning, everybody, and good evening wherever you are watching and wherever you're tuning in from. Good morning, Mark. It is a blue resonant hand day where we are. Here's a song called 32 Flavors. Squint your eyes and look closer. I'm not between you and your ambition. I am a poster girl with a poster. I'm 32 flavors and then some. I am beyond your peripheral vision, so you might wanna turn your head. 'Cause someday you're gonna get hungry and eating all of the words that you've just said. You've just said. God help you if you're an ugly girl, 'cause too pretty is also your doom. 'Cause everyone harbors a secret hatred for the prettiest girl in the room. God help you if you are a phoenix and you dare to rise up from the ash. 1,000 eyes will smother with jealousy. Why? While you are just flying past. Flying past. Chances as they come. I'm 32 flavors and then some. I'm nobody, but I am someone. Someone. Yeah, yeah. I never try to give my life meaning by demeaning you, and I would like to state for the record I did everything that I could do. I am beyond your peripheral vision, so you might wanna turn your head. 'Cause someday you're gonna be starving and eating all of the words that you just said. You've just said. I am mistake on my 32 flavors and some. I'm nobody, but I am someone. I'm nobody, but I am someone. I'm nobody, but I am someone. Yeah, yeah. And I am, and I am, I am. Blue resonant hand, I channel in order to know. Inspiring, healing, I seal the store of accomplishment with a resonant tone of attunement. I am guided by the power of self-generation. Aho. "32 flavors." It's like recognizing the many dimensions of who we are in one body, in one lifetime.
Wow. Lee, you're such a blessing. You really are. That's a beautiful way to start the day. You know, I was really feeling like you say that many different facets, like we truly are like humans. It's like we're these raw diamonds, right? Like, and you know, like a diamond, most people are used to seeing all those facets, the clean cuts and the beautiful shininess, and they think, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be. But you know, a diamond comes out of the ground rough. It comes out, you know, like just a broken piece of glass, really, in a way. And it's through over time knowing how and where to place those cuts, right? That knowledge and accomplishment of how do we place these cuts? How do we refine our gem that we've been given, that we've been born into this world with? And you know, we have free will. We have so many choices about how we can make the cut. We don't get to have free will about what the diamond is, right? But we have free will about how do we cut that? How do we express it? What face do we put on? And I think that's such a perfect song to start with.
Wow, beautiful. Just breathing in. Today where I am is a cloudy, rainy day. And it's been unpredictable with the weather, as everything else is changing and as everything else is unpredictable. And I tuned into this dream spell, to this harmonic calendar, and today suggests that it's the blue resonant hand. And I tune into that, and as that symbolizes healing, accomplishment, you know, putting our hands on the earth or using our hands for our own healing. Resonant is channeling, attunement, inspiration. So I'm just listening to what that day means for today, like for me. You know, and it says here, I'm guided by the power of self-generation, which is your archetype, the storm.
The storm, yeah.
In the wave spell, we're still in the red dragon that we've started a week ago, exactly 7 days ago. Today's the 7th day. And I think about, you know, this theme of the red dragon, the birthing and the rebirth. And I love that part in that song that's originally by Annie DeFranco is an amazing guitar player, amazing songwriter, poet, really. Just really a beautiful human being. That's been re-released by Alana Davis. It's also a good version. But there's a line in that song, God help you if you're an ugly girl, because too pretty is also your doom. Because everyone harbors a secret hatred for the prettiest girl in the room. And God help you if you are a phoenix and you dare to rise up from the ash. 1,000 eyes will smolder with jealousy while you are just flying past. Poetry. Absolutely. And I think about that phoenix in us that continues to rise when every time that we die in this body. You know, what does that mean? When we have many hats and many things that we are doing, you know, we're not just one persona, perhaps, you know, like one part of your life, there's an era where this is what you're doing and you really identify with that. And then, you know, that part of you just kind of, okay, you're finished with that and you're ready to, it's kind of like a rebirth every time, right? Or anything that, any experiences that we have that feels like we are hitting rock bottom, and then it's that phoenix rising from the ash. And it just reminds me to just focus on our own journey, nurture ourselves, focus on our own rebirth and not what other people are saying. And being kind to our own process of healing.
Yeah, I hear you. That's such a, as you're saying that, it makes me think, you know, because for those that aren't aware, the Mayan dream spell runs on these 13-day cycles, and each of those days represents an aspect of evolving a theme into the world. And so, as you're saying, Lee, right now we're in the Red Dragon wave spell. And if you want to know more about the Red Dragon, you can watch our last week's Satsang, which is the recordings there. And so this whole 13 days is all about, you know, like you say, this rebirthing of, okay, so what's next, you know, after what we've completed. And in that, every day actually holds a lot of wisdom. You know, if we look at the Tzolk'in, this Mayan 260-day cycle, like we can look at it totally aside from time, totally aside from all these different things, from that kind of, what does it mean about me, to actually learn a lot of lessons about existence and how it works. And just reflecting on what you've just shared, it's, you know, we have the red overtoned serpent, right, was the 5th day. So the red overtoned serpent is to take, you know, in order to take command of your rebirthing, you have to fire up that sacred activist within you, that fire in your belly, that instinctual nature, that mother's instinct that will do what it takes to protect, you know, the space, the womb, you know, where this baby is being born. And then that can be quite an intense energy because it stirs up things, it stirs up fear, it stirs up, you know, to be sorted through, to kind of get clear as to what am I protecting from, and you know, and am I doing it from a heart-centered place, or am I going out looking for problems to protect myself from, right? And then as we move through that, it helps us get more clarity. And then we move into the 6th day, which is the white rhythmic world bridger, right? So this world bridger is that gatekeeper. You know, it's the, you know, I've said often, it's like the when you go on one of those cheap airlines, right? And you go on a cheap airline where you've got like 15 kilos of luggage. If you go over 15 kilos, it's going to cost you $1,000 per kilo or something, right? And you have to sort through your luggage. You have to basically make decisions. What am I going to need on this adventure? And what can I just leave home because it's just excess? It's just old story. It's what I used to always bring with me, right? And in a similar way, that rhythmic world bridger is, you know, this, which was yesterday, actually it's landing in America right now. They're closing off this energy, you know, and I often find when these energies come by that the serpent and the world bridger are like shaking it up so that it can come to the surface. and your instinct can be honed so that you can start making clean decisions about what do I need to let die? What parts of myself? And that, if we're not trusting in this, if we're scared of this process, it's terrifying, right? It's terrifying to think, hang on, there's a part of me dying right now, even if it's a part that's no longer relevant. In the same way that our skin dies, right, and falls away, but we're just not aware of it. If we were as aware of it as we're aware of other things, it might freak us out a little, which kind of brought me, Lee, thinking of what you're saying along this line of like how this birthing process rolls out. So then we're like, we have to let things die in order to be able to fully birth, right? We have to let all our projections, ideas, expectations, everything go. And in a way, that's what I feel the birthing contractions are all about. So if people are having emotional contractions right now, if you're feeling like you're hitting rock bottom over the last few days, if you feel like, you know, life has been overwhelming, then I challenge you to contemplate what it might be showing you beyond because the victim feels like the world is oppressing, the world is stopping me, the world is not letting me birth. But what if that's not the case? What if we look at it from that sovereign storm archetype, right? That dances in the rain, that sits there and says, bring it on, because every discomfort you feel in your body is a signal. It's a sign showing you that something is out of alignment for who you're becoming, right? And so every time we come up with a confrontation or conflict or something that scares us, it's an opportunity, instead of running away or blaming the world or throwing it out there saying, well, I can't do anything because it's all that. It's an opportunity to come back. And that's what brings me to the blue resonant hand, where you and I are today. And so for everyone watching, Lee's in the Philippines with the wet season over there, and I'm in Perth. We've got some spring days coming. And this where are we? We're in the blue resonant hand.
Blue resonant.
Blue resonant hand, right? Which to me is the ultimate midwife archetype, right? The ultimate doula, right? So it's like, if you think about this, when like, I remember I've been part of the birthing process at home myself with my son's mother, and I've been a part of a lot of women's lives where I've been quite fortunate to witness a lot of these birthing processes. And I was watching, what is it a doula does, right? Because you've got the midwife that kind of takes care of things and the rest, but a doula really just comes in and helps the mother to relax and just focus solely on that infant that is coming through and the birthing process and nothing else. There to help take care of all the other bits and pieces and just help her trust, right? Just to trust in the process. So in order to do that, the doula learns about the job of a midwife, learns about the process of birth, learns about the knowledge of birth and everything that is going to play out. The doula takes actions to ensure that the mother is comfortable. You know, if she needs a snack or some foods or some water, or you know, maybe the birthing mother is worried about the messy kitchen when the baby comes. It might seem completely silly and crazy, but the doula respects that and says, okay, let me take care of that and take those actions so that you can relax into your birthing process. And so for me, this blue resonant hand archetype is really a kind of a calling to take responsibility for your rebirthing. You know, I need to take responsibility for my rebirthing. I need to be my doula. I need to take care of the things in my environment that are making it hard for me to trust and relax. And if I don't trust in the birthing process, if I think it's all bullshit, then I need to get some more knowledge. I need to learn more. I need to understand more so that I can relax and do whatever it takes. And for everyone, that's going to be different. And so that's kind of what was coming up for me as you were sharing and in this morning's contemplations.
There's a lot there. And what you shared, so beautiful. And we can recognize just how challenging it is during these times, you know, beyond what's going on in our personal world. We are rebirthing in the collective world. We are going through birthing our new dream in the planet. You know, we are all being invited, like you said, to be the nurturer of this dream, the seed. Emotional activation of this ability to be the caretaker of the seed that we are planting. We are on a yellow electric seed year on the planet. So not to confuse people who are diving into this for the first time, take what you need, leave the rest. There
Absolutely
will be
right.
some point where we're going to be mentioning different fractals of the Zolkin or the dream spell, wherein we're not just talking about the 13 days, but an expanded 13-year progression of cycle that's happening. And we weave that with what's going on right now. So if you find yourself overwhelmed with information as you listen to us today or in our past recordings, past episodes, just take a moment to breathe in deep and exhale. Know that the information that's coming to you is just the right amount. And if you get overwhelmed with what we're saying and you feel lost, just take a deep breath. Just take a breath. Take what you need and leave the rest.
Amen to that.
So I feel like I just needed to share that because it's easy to get overwhelmed by all of the things that we are sharing. Because we are all in different stages, I guess, or different we're all diving into the dream spell in a different timing. Some people have been tuning into it for a longer time than the others, and all is just perfect. So just dive in where you can. Thanks for joining us anyway, if you're here listening to the recordings.
Absolutely. And if you're listening to the replay, then welcome. Because in the end, time and space, it's a bit of an illusion. If you truly just take that deep breath Lee's talking about and surrender, then, we are all still here right now, right? And I really do appreciate you bringing that in, Lee. It's something that I've become hyper aware of over the years is, I part of my design, is working on the mental plane, going into all of this information, this data. And for me, it's like being an architect of these patterns and frequencies. And so to me, I see all these things, and it's such an important thing because I find I often have given way too much information to people, not just with the dream spell, but with everything, because that's what I needed, right? That's what I kind of looked for. That's how I digest the material. And this is a really important thing that, we're all so unique and different. And this is an important thing as well when we go out in the world is often I would end up giving so much information, thinking that everyone else needed the same to be able to drop into it. And paradoxically, I would have the opposite effect, right? It separates people from it because it's too much, it's too complex. It goes, oh my God. And people would often then put me up on this pedestal thinking, oh, he knows so much. He knows. It's like, yeah, but that's no good to you if it's just knowledge. It's the actual, and this is that part with the blue hand, right? It's also what helps you heal, what helps you accomplish and move forwards, what helps you actually make progress. And something that I've been embracing more and more in the way that I offer my work in different ways is just truly embracing this idea of being a storyteller, that in the end, all of those numbers, the details, the archetype names that you hear us mention, they're not that important for everyone out there. If you're into the dream spell, you'll find it interesting and it'll be like a language you can follow. But it's the story, right? It's the storytelling. And I think that's something we're seeing even in physics and science. More and more, they're turning towards the storytellers to try and understand everything because we're looking too much at the details, too much at the numbers, at the specifics, at the science as such, that sometimes we can get lost from what's actually important. And like Lee's saying, that the most important thing is that you're able to actually drop deeper into the actual piece that resonates with you, right? So in that story, there's going to be a piece that resonates. You might just hear something. And that's why I like what Lee's saying, take that breath, get your nervous system down. There's nothing to learn here. There's nothing you need to remember or jump into, but just to open and to soak and absorb. And I just want to also do a shout out to Hari that has joined us live in the back. Hari, I just
Hi,
turned the video
Harry.
off for the live stream, but please do join us in the chat there. We'll be doing a free little mini reading towards the end. If you want to be in the run for that, we'll get your date of birth and time of birth off you.
Thank you.
Pleasure. So, Lee.
Yes, Mark.
Here we are. The world is going through one mighty birthing process.
This is our episode. Who's counting?
Was it 5 last time? I don't know. Maybe it's 6.
Maybe you're at 6.
Maybe around 6.
Yeah. And we've been doing some readings on the spot as well in the Satsang for the Soul. For those that are interested to just have a quick, in a nutshell, decoding of their signature, their light signature. And what we did the last time too, it was in advance for Lisa, right? It's like before coming on to the program, we already had Lisa's birthday, and so that was such a treat to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
So yes, take the opportunity to, if you can leave us a comment later, even if it's for the future episodes, then we can answer those questions that you have. Please don't hesitate to shoot us anything, and we are here to help you find your way into the dream spell more and more.
Absolutely. And, have fun with it. That's one of the things that I'm really, has become my mantra for this process that we're through is coming into 2027. We're moving into a very powerful time. We're moving into, we are literally birthing, a new kind of human into the world coming after 2027 and onwards. And when we look at this 13-day period, it's all about bringing enchantment, right? It's about bringing, and in fact, this is really a relevant point, Lee, because, to where we are in the 13 years of the White Wizard on a collective level. We are in the 3rd year of planting the seeds of this wizard year. And this is all about receptivity and enchantment. It's a very powerful feminine force, right? Mm. And what I've been fascinated by is seeing in the last 6 months in a lot of podcasts of scientists, quantum physicists, and a lot of different people, their conversations have opened up more than I've ever seen in my whole life, of seeing hardcore scientists that used to be very dogmatic are now actually looking at the science. They're looking at the new information, the new technology they have. And they're starting to discover that there's actually a field of energy, an information field, which informs reality, that we are essentially in a virtual simulation of consciousness, that we are playing a computer game, and there is a higher part of ourselves. And we are in a computer game right now where it's almost like a boss level, right? In games, you have the boss level, the big challenge at the end. It feels almost like we're hitting the boss level, the graduation of this level. And the challenge is not to like in computer games, the challenge is to beat and destroy and kill the enemy, right? Whereas in this virtual simulation of consciousness, I feel like the boss level we're at right now is not to kill the enemy, because that's a lot easier than what we actually have to do, which our challenge is actually to love the enemy, right? Is to see the oneness in everything around us, to be able to shift our perspective and our paradigm of our social systems so that we can actually embrace that difference, to understand and have compassion for those that are different to us. And I think there's we're seeing this change happen in science. We're seeing it happen in politics. And I have to say, it's pretty exciting. But
yeah, quantum physics, the quantum world. Wow, I was listening to Marcus Schmieke talk about the information field and how that's like, it's like an ocean of infinite possibilities. For those of you who don't know him, he's the creator of Healy, this amazing device that is in the hands of a lot of people right now. Frequency therapy device helps to set the frequency in harmony within the energy body. And we are hearing so many scientists, like you said, like Dr. Joe Dispenza is absolutely leading the way. There's so many people listening to him. And I love his approach as well, because it's very grounded in this physical world. It's not so much in the mystical approach, but there's, the mystical aspect of it is there, but he's just so grounded into kind of like the steps, like when he's teaching meditation and such. So it's amazing just to have these amazing teachers that are sharing these informations with many people. And they did say that, who was I listening to? It takes about 144,000 people to believe in the same idea for it to become a reality.
I've heard that, yeah.
So 144,000 people that are, for example, meditating on, for example, unity consciousness or oneness and one of those things. And it helps to really move these ideas forward, and I love it because, again, we are at a time where it's like science meets spirituality. And for the longest time, we've been doing our meditation practice and all of these things. And now science is coming side by side with spirituality to have an explanation of what, like, for example, meditation or energy healing, and really in a way kind of validates what's being done or what's happening in that realm that you cannot see, in the unseen. So we are in a very exciting time on the planet.
Absolutely. Lee, I was actually just watching. It was super exciting. It was super, super exciting. And by the way, big shout out to Alex Toma and also Alex Roken, who is the founder of CloutForum and our beautiful support, always holding the fort. But big shout out to Alex Toma. If you're still watching in the YouTube live stream, if you wanted to join in and get your reading later on, you're welcome to jump in. You might not want to chuck your date of birth in YouTube chat there. So if you did, then maybe come and join us in the Zoom room. Awesome. No, but what I was going to say, Lee, is I was listening to Greg Braden. I haven't listened to Greg Braden in a long time.
Oh, he's also an amazing
He
person.
is incredible, right? Now, Greg Braden, I didn't realize he actually used to work with the military back in the day. And so he's comes from quite a solid, scientific kind of background, but he's also been very fascinated. He's always been very fascinated. Let me just pop that link in there. There you go, Alex. The Zoom link is in the YouTube thing if you want to come in and share your date of birth with us, and we'll give you that session. But yeah, so Greg Braden, I'm focused now. What was super awesome was, and this is really in ties in with the blue resonant hand archetype we're in right now, right? Because it's all about knowledge that helps us to trust in this birthing process, and the knowledge from the likes of Greg Braden. Who else is there? There's so many, right? Ken Wilburn,
Bruce Lipton.
Bruce Lipton, thank you.
They're like, for me, Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, Alberto Villoldo.
So many.
Amazing teachers. So Nassim Harim, Matthias Di Stefano. Who else? There's just so many.
Right. And each and every one of these are like, sorry?
Gaia.com is an amazing resource for everything, spirituality, metaphysics, all of these incredible things that you might not find anywhere else. I mean, I just want to share that. We don't
Absolutely,
work for
right?
Gaia.com, but I definitely love all the content that they put up there.
Yeah. No affiliate links from Gaia.com on this one. But it was actually on Gaia.com that I saw Greg Braden, right, talking about this. And one of the groundbreaking things that kind of I wasn't aware of is they've done these experiments in laboratories where they've taken a vacuum and they've, forgive me for getting it not accurate, but you can look it up, Greg Braden, photons. There'll be all the research and the links there. And they put photons. Now, photons are essentially building blocks of reality, right? They're light particles. Are they particles? Light. Yeah, photons. And so the idea is everything, atoms, et cetera, are made up of these photons. And so when you consider that photons, everything's made of photons, right? What the experiment did is it put these photons into a vacuum, and then it took a strand of DNA and also put that in the vacuum. And what they saw happen was that these photons that were moving, chaotically or et cetera, suddenly attracted and took the exact shape of the DNA. Now, that, right, this is in a vacuum, so nothing else influencing it. That was, as far as Greg Braden was putting forwards, scientific evidence that our bodies, right, influence our reality, our manifest reality. Because if everything is made of photons and a strand of DNA affects the way photons behave, it means your DNA affects existence. It affects the material, the photons all around you. So if we then take that to the next part that he was showing, was that the way that we, the science of epigenetics, the way that we perceive our reality informs our DNA of how it should express itself in the world. So this then comes down to show that, we've seen scientifically that the way we perceive our reality affects our DNA's behavior. That then means if you connect all this together, that the way you perceive your reality literally affects your reality, right? So we're starting to see the scientific mechanisms for how this is playing out. And we're still early, like it's going to be fleshed out more and more and become more solid. But how amazing is that when you break it down?
When you started talking about photons, I'm just like, wow, we're just totally in that space. We're so connected, because I actually saved something that I read in social media some time ago. I mean, in the past couple of days. Hi to our other participant here in the Zoom room, Akshaya Amar.
Hey, Akshaya.
Hello.
And I wanted to just read this post and share this with you. A scientifically controlled study conducted by German researchers at the University of Kassel, with a Kassel, has shown that while the chest area of an average person emits only 20 photons of light per second, someone who meditates on their heart center and sends love and light to others emits an amazing 100,000 photons per second. That is 5,000 times more than the average human being. Numerous studies have also shown that when these photons are infused with a loving and healing intent, their frequency and vibration increases to the point where they can literally change matter, heal disease, and transform negative events. 10 minutes of meditating on compassion, on kindness for others, and you will see its effects all day. That's the way to maintain a calm and joyous mind. From the Book of Joy, Lasting Happiness in a Changing World by the Dalai Lama.
How funny is that? Straight.
Exactly. In our call yesterday, you were talking about photons, and I'm like, can't wait to share with you what also I've read. And it's incredible.
It is, huh?
Right now in the Blue Hand that we're talking about healing, imagine that. I don't know. So it's amazing that these kinds of scientific data are available for us to make sense of, how we are or what we are doing in the when we are meditating. Because some people, and this is a good, I guess, a little push of inspiration for those that are starting their meditation practice. Because a lot of people would always say, and that, oh, I don't know if I'm getting anywhere with my meditation practice. I still have a lot of things on my mind. I notice that there's so many things going on. And the thing is, it means that we're getting somewhere, because now we're aware of the thoughts that there's a lot of things going on. But things like this, information, again, when we say love and light, light is information. Light simply means information. Information about love, because we can just say love, but if we don't really understand love in the highest essence or its meaning, it needs to be first informed. Love and light. When people say right now, there's so many people that would use love and light, love and light. Light is information. And it also symbolizes white, and the other one is the red. This is also the masculine and feminine principle. The light principle as a creation that men secretes. In the semen, it's colored white, and then the women bleed with the red color. So there's so many symbolisms that are out there. Is there anyone else that has a microphone?
Oh, yeah, I've got that.
Yeah.
There you go. Sorry, Akshaya, we'll just keep the microphones muted for now. But if you'd like the I just sent Akshaya a message if she was keen to get the free little mini reading we do, then Akshaya, if you just send me your date of birth in a little private message, I'll look up your signature for you. But no pressure. We're just looking for a volunteer that's excited for the session, for the gift. But yes, and Lee, this is another part, right? That, like you're saying, this symbolism of existence is literally everywhere. It is everywhere. It's like you say, it's these really, like, one of the things that I'm a big advocate for, and this is where my work with Richard Rudd and this around the art of contemplation became such a pivotal point for me, because what I started to discover was, we just need to bring awareness. Oh, we've got Alex. Alex came in with his date of birth. Excellent. We've got our winner. But actually, if you flick yours through, we can maybe either sneak you in or get you on next one. We just had to go with the first one that came in. All right. Beautiful. We have two now, Lee. But where was I? Yes, symbolism everywhere. And what I really have come to see is that, in a sense, self-awareness is like the mechanism that drives the evolution of consciousness. So if we take everything we've said, all of these fancy, complicated numbers, data, science, this, that, and everything else, and just boil it right down, you don't actually have to understand anything. You don't actually have to know everything. But if you can do this meditation, like Lee's talking about, come back to the heart and use compassion as like the motor that processes, the digestive motor is that compassion in a way, then your self-awareness will naturally process all the information you have received through all of your senses and sort it out. It will pull it apart. It will put it back where it needs to go. It will react. And a lot of people often say to me after I've had I've done a reading for them, right? Because I have these Discover Your Genius sessions, and I do this session for them, and they get to the end and they say, oh my God, it's like you just read the book of my life. It's like you've just put it all out there. And, it's like, beautiful. And then they say, but what do I do with that? How do I fix it? How do I make any changes? And it's like you're saying, Lee, well, you've already changed. You're now aware of it. And that is enough. When you become aware and you're honest, then that can be enough in that sense.
Totally. And I feel like that's really why information is so important. That's why light is information. Light is important. When we are informed, This is our awareness expanding. And sometimes that's all we need. Information can free us from any suffering. In the same way that I started talking about that, in the sense that when you're meditating and you don't feel like you're getting anywhere, getting somewhere, that information alone, that a regular human being emits 20 photons, but when you meditate in a heart-centered space with intention, compassion, especially if you're sending it to people, that becomes 100,000 photons that you're emitting. These are things that we cannot see with our eyes, because we only see 10%, if I'm correct, of the materialized world, and everything else is the 90%, which is the unseen. We cannot fully say that we know and understand everything, because our eyes only show us a very, like, just a hair of actual reality that's happening. 90% of that is something that is in the spirit world.
That's pretty wild to contemplate.
Yes. And so may this be an inspiration to a lot of people who are meditating and feeling like maybe you're hitting a wall or you are not experiencing any benefits and such. Know that informations like this can, help us stay on track, and keep on practicing, keep on doing, what we're doing, because even if we're not seeing it, we can feel that in the heart. Any person that's meditating in a heart-centered space is, in a way, doing service to everything else around us, because as we know, vibration moves in a 365-degree kind of way. We emit energy 360, not 365, that's the calendar. 360 degrees. So if you can imagine even two people coming together or more, everyone emitting 100,000 photons, that's a beautiful bubble of white light that's just spreading. That information is crossing 360 degrees in all four directions. And even if we don't recognize it, I really truly believe that our pets benefit from it. Our plants around us, in our garden, in our home, they benefit from our practice. And so I want to just take this moment, because I want to take this moment to send deep gratitude to every single person who's really doing the work for themselves. Because your healing, our personal healing journey is what's going to create change in the collective healing journey. And that's all that we need to do, perhaps. Just focus on ourselves first.
Absolutely. And Lee, it's funny you say that with we've got Akshaya, and sorry Akshaya if we're saying the name wrong, but she's commented here in the chat. Hello to you, Mark, Lee, and everyone. It's nice to hear you both right after my meditation, emitting those loving photons. So thank you, Akshaya, for doing the work. Beautiful. Hey Lee, I'm just noticing the time. It flies so quickly when we're hanging out. Oh my gosh! In this timeless space, we actually
Alex's
have
birthday.
two. I've got them both set up, and there's quite a synchronicity, because we've got Alex and Akshaya both kind of put the date of birth around the same time, and interestingly, they're both born in the same wave spell of the blue night.
Oh, okay.
So I thought,
wonderful,
we should do them both. You up for it?
Let's do it.
Finish up with that, and then some beautiful music to bring us into a landing. All right, excellent. Yeah. So first things first, we'll start with Alex, because Alex, yours came in first. And so both Alex and Akshaya, you're both born in the blue night wave spell, which is the dreamer's wave spell. It's about, pulling in the dreaming and abundance and bringing it into the world. But starting with Alex, Alex is a yellow rhythmic star. So Alex, your galactic mind signature or your mind dream spell signature is yellow rhythmic star in the wave spell of the Blue Knight. And just while we're planting it, the one we'll cover next is Akshaya, who is a red electric serpent in the wave spell of the Blue Knight. So we have these two archetypes, the rhythmic star, which is Alex, and the electric serpent, which is Akshaya, both sharing a shared common purpose and theme. Where do you want to start, Lee?
Electric star. So we start with
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Go for it, Mark.
Electric serpent. We'll start with the three.
Oh, sorry, electric. Yeah.
Good point. Good point. Why don't we start there?
And rhythmic star. Sorry.
Yeah. Beautiful. So we're going to start with Akshaya. This is your dream spell signature, the red electric serpent in the wave spell of the Blue Knight. Now, the reason we start here, which is a good point, is that you're the first archetype that turns up on this 13-day journey, right? So the Blue Knight, if you think of it as a storytelling archetype, the Blue Knight is, the John Lennon Imagine, right? Imagine all the people, imagine this prosperity, imagine this abundance, imagine this dream where we could all just be safe and connect with our hearts and with love. This is abundance. This is the Blue Knight dreamer that you're here to help bring into the world. And Alex, you as well are here to bring into the world. Now, Akshaya, you're here specifically born on the third day, which is working on the emotional plane. And the electric tone is about what does it take to bond your service to bringing that dream through. And your role in that electric tone is also to be a catalyst that helps others bond their service, to believe in the dream, to dare to believe in the dream and have the courage to ground that dream and protect the dream. And so this red serpent that you carry, it's this, life force, instinct. It's the one that in the shadow fights against everything. It's the activists in the street smashing windows and just going crazy. That's the red serpent out of balance. But when the red serpent is in balance, doing that meditation, you are shining those photons that are activating people's life force, that are helping them to wake up their natural instinct. So rather than listening to a logical mind that needs to tell them how you will get that dream into the world, they become more embodied, more present, more alive, and just taking action. And so it's a very kind of powerful, activator in that sense. And so that's what comes to me when I think of the red electric serpent. Lee, how about you?
Beautiful. It's it always reminds me of the Kundalini energy, the serpent's energy. And I think, this happens as we know, Kundalini rises when when all the 7 chakras are balanced, activated, and the Kundalini from being asleep, like a coiled serpent lying dormant at the base of the spine, it begins to rise the moment all the energy centers start to activate and balance itself. And it begins its climb all the way to the crown of our head. That's what they say about the experience of samadhi, or oneness. It's the climb of that Kundalini serpent that's going up. And I feel that it's also an incredible time to, not just for any serpents or red serpent archetype, but this is also the journey that we are in right now on the planet. We are all, for those, I wouldn't say we are all, but for those who feel drawn to experience deeper meditation, it's this Matthias de Stefano said this when he's being asked about what's the general message for what's going on right now. It's all about activating all of our 7 chakras and having our own experience, having our own experience of that oneness. We need to experience that activation inside of us first. And so the activation that happens when I think about red electric serpent is not so much about activating others, but first activating ourselves. because also in the world, what we're seeing right now is it's easy to get lost in the sense of I'm doing this work for other people. But in essence, the invitation is we're not doing things for others. That's just the gift that happens naturally when we work on ourselves. Everything is home. Everything begins here with us. We are only in service of ourselves. And it takes that shift and that responsibility, or that a role of like being a savior, right? And it's also a concept that a lot of people can feel overwhelmed with when you feel like you're serving a community and things like that. But in the same way, again, I find that that's just a beautiful after effect, like that afterglow. We are in service to the liberation of our own selves, and our liberation serves others, not the other way around. Not liberating others from that sense of I am a savior and you need to be saved. And perhaps, sorry, you're on mute, Brother Mark.
I was going to say amen to that. That is such a vital, powerful piece, that just that alone, contemplating that and really understanding that, it's because I saw for myself, like the saving others it was an escape pattern for me. It's much easier to go and tell everyone else how they can fix their lives than it is to take responsibility for my own, right? And so I think, and with what you were saying about the meditation and the photons and the increasing of the photons and the rate, etc., like it just makes perfect sense, right? Like just take care of your own frequency and you will naturally become a lighthouse for transformation. And it's almost like that fine line between selfishness and selflessness is take care of that self and it will naturally go out into the world as your frequency rises without needing to try. Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. And because I'm also white electric wizard. So I have,
of course,
I resonate with what the electric means in terms of activation, service, bond. These are the key codes for electric. So yeah.
I love
what about
that.
Alex?
All right,
I know the
Alex.
time is slipping, but let's let's dive
so
into Alex.
Let's jump into Alex. Just wanted to give Akshaya, she was just saying just what I wanted to hear. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Lee. Totally agree with you too. Thank you for your thoughts. Hey, Akshaya, thank you for being willing to share your date of birth with us so that we could offer that little gift. It's a lot of fun for us. And so now, Alex, before we close off, we now move to the rhythmic star in the wave spell of the blue night. Did you want to start this one, Lee? How are you feeling?
Rhythmic star. Rhythmic star, right?
Rhythmic star.
Okay, Alex, I like the rhythmic tone. These people naturally are drawn to organizing and we need that tone expressed in the world, because this is the tone for balance and equality. What you are organizing, if you're organizing something, that it creates balance and it creates equality. Having a rhythm, that's why it's called the rhythmic. It's like that drummer. It's the backbone of everything, because he provides the beat. Everybody follows in the band what the drummer is doing. So in the same way that the rhythm of life is what we follow, right? Like the rhythm of the seasons and the rhythms of the day, there's a daylight and the nighttime. For rhythmic people, it's like also like I find that with a lot of people that I've done readings for that are rhythmic, it's important for them to have some sort of rhythm in their days. Otherwise, it could feel like they're off balance. But yellow star people in general that I've also met are not just artists per se, although the yellow star represents art, elegance, and is it beauty?
Beauty.
Art, elegance, and beauty. We'd think that it's just art, like just artists, but no. The yellow star people that I've met are neurologists, architect, engineers, chiropractors, and I'm like, interesting, brain doctors. And it reminds me that that's really what Yellow Star represents for me, is that divine art, which is the sacred geometry, the understanding of the human body in its design, understanding where everything fits. And it's all about patterns, so these people might be drawn to work that has something to do with that, for women, like weaving patterns. That's what comes to me. A yellow star, yellow rhythmic star in the wave spell of the blue night, organizing reality to create beauty and harmony in perhaps in your own life patterns, and your own lineage. Maybe this is a lifetime where you're bringing some things into harmony. That's a family pattern, things like that, to remember the dream.
As you were saying that, it's like I see a vision, Alex, of you being like if you think that, imagine that the blue night energy, right? And I was just saying, wow, amazing. Thank you, Lee. And Lee, I love you, Lee. Anyway, staying on focus. It's so easy to get lost into the frequencies of it all. But imagine, Alex, there's like this blue night energy that's coming from behind you, and you and Akshaya are both walking in front of that wave, helping integrate it, prepare everything for that energy before it lands, right? And so Akshaya is there, raising the Kundalini and activating the life force, clearing out the chakra centers so that that energy can come through and find its home and be received. And then you, Alex, are like a little bit further ahead. And this isn't a for better or worse, or they're just different roles, right? And so you're a little bit further ahead, like Lee's saying, playing that drum, creating that rhythm so that people can come into the right alignment for that dream energy, that vision of the possibilities, that abundance can be received. And, that drumming is kind of a metaphor for, like Lee's saying, about creating patterns, about weaving. And so in a way, I see you as an architect of the dream, in that sense. I love that word, architect. I love architect used in every other way than houses. But you're an architect of the dream, Alex, in that sense that, part of your role is to stay connected to that dreaming, but then find ways that you can weave it into a story that can be heard by the world. Because the dream is often too much for people. They can't take the dream. It's too expansive. It's too far from where they are in their frequency, and it can create turbulence. And so this is the role of our storytellers of the ages, the bards and the wise, the wisdom keepers that would sit around the fire at, when they wake up at 2 a.m. and share with their tribe the stories of the dreaming. And then they would take that into the world. And in that sense, Alex, I see you as being a potential storyteller, and that means you could be a quantum physicist, you could be a painter, you could be a dishwasher, literally anything. But in everything that you're doing, when you're present, when you're in your power, you will be sharing a little essence of that dream through everything you do, in that sense. Well, what do you reckon, Lee? We're going a little bit over time there. It's always challenging getting these things aligned, but hope everyone doesn't mind a few extra minutes.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So
that was fun.
That was fun, right? And it's so please, if anyone watching this, if you're watching the replay or you're here with us live, hey, thank you everyone that joined us live. Hari, Akshaya, Alex, we really, really appreciate the energy. It's we would love to have more people join us live, and we'll be doing a free session for everyone once in the session. Towards the end, we'll always do a free one, but we just need you live in the space to be able to offer us your date of birth. Enjoy. We will try to keep them to an hour, but we're still trying to find our feet with everything. So thanks for your patience there. Any support in sharing it out and helping build a little community around this would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
So thank you again from me. With all my love, I'm going to hand you now to Lee to bring us into this closing and go into the rest of the day.
Up to now, I'm still thinking about what the song would be. But first, I want to thank everyone for joining us wherever you are. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. It really energizes our conversations when we hear from others who can join us. And if you are sharing this content, you're sharing this link with people, thank you, because you're helping us spread this this joy, spread these conversations. So thank you. Thank you for both of you who sent in your birthdays. Again, ending the night or ending the day with another song. Feeling all right. This is another one from Jason Mraz, which is also one of the singers that I love. Again, just listening to what song wants to be played right now. So blue, resonant hand healing, guided by the blue storm, the wave spell of the red dragon, birthing. There are three things I do when my life falls apart. Number one, I cry my eyes out and dry up my heart. Not until I do this will my new life starts. So that's the first thing that I do when my life falls apart. I close both of my eyes and say my thank yous to each and every moment of my life. I go where I know that love is and let it fill me up inside, gathering new strength from sorrow. I'm glad to feel alive. I pause, I take a breath and bow, and I let the chapter end. I design my future bright, not the way my life has been. And I try again. Yes, I try again. Things are looking up. I know beyond the clouds, the sun is shining on. Sun is shining on three little things. reminder to take a 1, 2, 3 step whenever you find yourself reaching a wall, or when you find yourself in the process of breaking, and know that that's happening, and it's a new stage of our healing, another layer that we are peeling, our own rebirth. Thank you all, and see you next week.